Hey everyone, this is Brown Bear. Over the Picolli Week 6 discussions for Chapter 12 and Chapter 13, we'll review kind of a summary of the articles as well as relevance to MIS theories from this class. If we look at Chapter 12, Picolli discussion, the fake news technology and ethics summary, it reviews the prevalence of fake news in media online. Obviously, we see a huge trend of rise of the spreading of AI fake news. If you just go to one Facebook page, it seems like half of the stories or images that you see are related to AI, and most of them are not even true. So it's becoming a major problem in the U.S. today. There's an example back in 2016 U.S. election where big pro-Trump stories vastly outperformed pro-Clinton ones on Facebook and Twitter. And tactics like these have been used by Cambridge Analytica in over 68 countries. So we see that technology is able to spread this fake news. But another thought is, can technology prevent fake news that's been created by technology? They speak to this with the blockchain being able to make the information more transparent and more identifiable to other technology trying to battle that fake news. We also get into some other issues, right? There's people believe this fake news because of our own biases, right? Our confirmation bias, selective exposure. We're only seeking out things that we want to know, and desirability bias. You want those things to be true, so that we believe those things to be true. So it really is very easy to target people and get this work, especially when you are just repeatedly hit with, this fake news. It becomes very easy to, take it as truth, even without searching more. When we looked at the consequence, right, the more fake news there is, the more we erode our trust in media and institutions. It can be, harmful. There's misinformation, and that's where that battle between free speech and that of harm gets to be difficult because it's legally protected, and it's very hard to stop that fake news outside of defamation suits. We look at Chapter 13, right? This is one of the larger retail data breaches. It occurred between 11/27/13 and 12/15/13, with over 100 million individuals had their information stolen. The cost target hundreds of millions in legal fees, restitution, correction of the issue. The breach was highlighted by growing cybersecurity vulnerabilities in the retail markets. Others were affected, but Target was the focus of this article. And it placed a large pressure for the creation of these chip-based credit or debit cards. And for all, it was made possible by lax security protocols and limited monitoring. So this helped lead a wave of cybersecurity increased protocols in retail to help prevent this from happening again. So we get some questions or issues from the case. Some of these, I think, are larger issues that can be solved easily. The first one being, can AI limit information created by AI? And I think this will be a big question moving forward because that misinformation is going to continue to expand. And how can we utilize that same technology to prevent it? Because there's not enough manpower to spot these out, and not enough people feel like truly care to seek out incorrect information. How can we balance that freedom of speech versus spreading dangerous misinformation? Why, governmentally, legally, regulation-wise, could be available. And can we reduce that bias inherent in AI algorithms? We know we're not going to reduce the bias in humans, but if we look back to that Coursera class we took, they speak a lot to that underlying bias, prejudice, racism, even in the current state of AI. So is there a way that we can reduce that? For Chapter 13, I feel like, how do we balance a budget to prioritize cybersecurity for companies like Target, these larger retail vendors? How do we prioritize that cybersecurity in the budget without placing so much of a cost that it's no longer effective to them? And that's going to be different depending on the company, depending on their infrastructure, depending on their size. But it's a question we probably need to ask because one breach like this and it becomes a national or international issue. And then another big one is how do you appropriately spread that responsibility from the vendor to the government, consumers, third parties? Like, how do we figure out who is responsible for what, right? If credit cards, debit cards needed to be updated, is that then target for not being able to prevent this? This also led to other regulations with government to help prevent this from happening again. But also, it could be on consumers to make sure they're monitoring for signs of credit hits, theft, uh, things that don't look correct to them. So this really truly should be spread amongst a lot of people. And then finally, we got some relevant theories, right? The socio-technical systems theory and media richness theory both fit chapter 12 super well. And, socio-technical systems theory fits chapter 13 as well. Right? We have such a reliance on technology, our culture, the world, just with how we are developing, and that interdependence between them means they rely on each other much more. So as we have lacks of security and we see target breaches or we see fake news out there, has to be a cultural bigger shift to understand these and be able to improve them moving forward. Media richness theory, right? It is conveyed so well through media. It is so easy to see all these fake news, even articles that look like they should be correct, or fake without doing deeper dives. And as we start to rely more on AI, as we start to rely more on PC first because we just want that quick information, it can become a lot more traumatic to us. So we have to take that time to take a step back, really think about where we are and what we need, make sure that that's accurate. And these are the references for the case. Thank you.